Man, got a lot of stories coming out of West Coast, Best Coast. Lost City. Seattle mayor opposes jail sentences for repeat criminals. Let me read that again. Seattle mayor opposes jail sentences for repeat criminals. 6, 7-time felon? Oh, yeah. Just let him go. It's okay. Why is that? Let's get into it. Here we go. This came about during a debate. We've got a whole bunch of debates going on, which I pay zero attention to other than because I don't like either candidate. This is our current mayor. He's not going to get elected because he came in as a moderate. I actually think he's done some good things for the city, but now he's trying to get reelected and he's just going down these crazy train story ideology, just this far left nonsense. Let's just let all the criminals go. Why? I want to hear their story. And then so I've just written him off altogether. Because he's literally trying to get elected more than he is providing public safety or caring about the citizens. Then we've got this young lady here, Katie Wilson, Democratic Society of America, full-blown commie. She's going to go full-blown commie. And that is who Seattle will elect. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so podcasts for days, weeks, you get it. Here we go. I told my ex-wife about this storyline, and she goes, there's no way Seattle mayor said that. I said, here it is.
If somebody has offended 6, 7, 8 times, even if it's a minor offense, but they continue to fail to turn their life around, at what point do you balance public safety to giving this person, some accountability? What is that balance?
So let me make something very clear. I was the one that sponsored the ban the box legislation when everyone opposed it because the criminal system has had a disparity.
Banning the box, it means do you have a felony criminal conviction on your record? Which is something that an employer wants to know, right? Because it might impact that employer's business down the road when said potential employee breaks the law again, which has been known to happen. But, Super Mayor Bruce Harrell, he doesn't see it that way. Let's keep going.
Impact on Black and brown communities. Let me lead with that. So when this person is committing 6 or 7 crimes, I don't know his or her story. Maybe they were abused as a child. Maybe they're hungry.
Abused as a child. Let's back up. Doesn't know their story. Well, they broke the law. That's what you need to know. Okay, that's what you need to know. And actions have consequences. You break the law, you go to jail. Period. That's what we're doing. Maybe they were hungry. There's a lot of people that are hungry that aren't out, assaulting others, stealing from others, carjacking others. There's a lot of people sitting at home hungry that aren't that way. And you know what? In a city like Seattle, pretty hard to go hungry. Because all our taxpayers are going for all of these social benefits. People ain't going hungry. They're not going hungry like that. No, I push back. Maybe they were abused as a kid. So then we should just allow anybody who's been abused to just go out and break the law and abuse others? Is that what we're saying? That's what we're saying. That is literally what we're saying. Make that make sense. It doesn't. It's far leftist ideology that's gone haywire. It's literally gone bonkers. But, let's hear what else Bruce has to say.
My remedy is to find their life story to see how we could help first. I have no desire to put them in jail, but I need to.
And that's all you need to know, folks, right there. I have no desire to put repeat offenders, 6, 7, 8-time felony criminals into jail because warm and fuzzy, I want to hear their story. How are you going to do that? What are you going to do? You going to sit down and have a kumbaya moment and praise be? All right. No. You got to get these guys off the street. You need to incarcerate these people. Repeat offenders, they're just going to keep repeating. Because they don't give a damn about your feeling warm and fuzzy and how they were abused as a child. Maybe they weren't abused as a child. What about that? Maybe they came from a wealthy family and they just think, F it, I don't want to work. I'm just going to steal stuff from other people and do drugs. A lot of people. I know a lot of people that fit that category. Came from good families. They just went down this crazy town road and they decided, I don't really want to work. Don't really need to. This is Seattle. This is Free-attle. It's game on. Let's go, baby. And they do.
Protect you. And that's the calibration that we have. I put police officers on the stand. I've cross-examined them. So whether they commit 7 or...
And how's that working out, Bruce? How are policing levels in the city of Seattle? Do you have enough cops for basic public safety? Not according to FBI numbers, you don't. You are hundreds of police officers shy. So maybe instead of bragging about putting cops on the stand, you should be going, you know what? We want to provide public safety to everybody in Seattle. And in order to do that, we're going to have to incarcerate some people. But if you said that, his chances of getting elected would be 0.00%. Because the far left and Democrats in general, we don't want to incarcerate people. They're good people. Maybe they were just hungry. It's mentally challenged. It's what AOC does, right? They were just hungry. No, they didn't smash that door in and break into the jewelry store because they were hungry. It wasn't a crime of need. We have some of the highest carjacking percentages here in Seattle, which everybody keeps saying, they're going down. All right. But when you ask yourself, how does Seattle end up with the type of criminal activity that it does, where, repeat offenders are out stealing cars and then they're jumping them over the U District Bridge? They're jumping them, Dukes of Hazzard style. You don't get that in every city because you don't have lawlessness promoted. 𝗪𝗧𝗛 has just basically promoted lawlessness in Seattle. Anything goes, because I'm not gonna incarcerate you. Tell me your story instead.
Great crimes to me is not the issue. The issue is, why are they committing these crimes? And so we have a health-based strategy. We authorized our fire department, for example, be the first fire department in the country to administer buprenorphine. I want these people treated. So for me, it's not 7 or 8. It's how do I stop? How do I go upstream to find out what's in their life? But at the end of the day, I also have to protect you. And that's the calibration that we've done. And we are best practice in this country in doing it.
That's some real nonsense. That is some calculated, progressive, democratic bullshit nonsense. That's what that is. That is literally... Current Seattle mayor is the less progressive candidate on the ballot this November. His opponent is running to his left. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind as you read this essay. All right? Got it? Okay. Jason rants, whoa. Tonight's debate, Seattle Mayor 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗛 just said, if a repeat offender who has committed 6 or 7 crimes is arrested again, I have no desire to put them in jail. He and his opponent held a debate last night. When asked what his opinion was about what should be done with repeat offenders, his proposal solution is to sit down and listen to the sob story of the criminal. I kid you not. He objects to putting the perp in jail because he probably had a tough go of it as a child. A lot of people have a tough go as a child. I know many kids who have had a tough go as a child, and they're not out breaking the law. They're making something better of themselves. They're going to law school. Know what I'm saying? It never occurs to it that allowing criminals to run rampant in his city might mean that many others will have a tough go of it right now because of such insane policies. That's what this is. But this is a race to the bottom, folks. This is a race to the bottom in Seattle. This is a race to the bottom, Washington State. It's what we're doing. Let's just throw on billions of dollars in new taxes, even though we said we weren't going to really do that. Just have to see how it goes. During Thursday night's mayoral debate, Seattle Mayor 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗛 said he wouldn't jail any 8-10 convicted felon and would rather learn about that personal life story. Faced with a shockingly high number of prolific offenders severely harming the city of Seattle's quality of life, 𝗪𝗛𝗏's comment was one of the most jaw-dropping, tone-deaf moments I've ever heard from a sitting mayor, and that bar is already subterranean in this city. That is some excellent writing. The bar is so low, it's below grade. It's below ground. It's way under there, right? Harold delivered that kind of response that makes you wonder if he even lives in the same city the rest of us do. No jail time for 8-time repeat criminal. Moderator asked Harold a fairly simple question. If somebody is offended 6, 7, 8 times, we heard that, but they continue to fail to turn their life around, it's just absolutely nutty that he comes up with this. And the issue is, why are they committing these crimes? Bruce Harrell asked. And so we have a health-based strategy. A health-based strategy. Well, as long as they're in prison experiencing this health-based strategy, I'm okay with that. Call it whatever you want. Don't really care. Know what I mean? You just call it what you want, and I'll call it what I want, which is actions have consequences. You break the law like that, you go to jail. You go to prison. Period. But we're not doing that because this is Seattle. This is Seattle. Health-based strategy, WTF does that even mean? Hot air, I am not sure what that means. I don't even know. Hand the guy some aspirin, or is there a magic drug that gives the perp a nicer backstory and has an inclination to cure cancer? We're reliably told that every illegal immigrant in the world is genius inventor or a research biologist. So perhaps the same is true of felons if only they were given proper health care. Somebody who's committed multiple crimes is a criminal. That's their primary job. They don't do it because they're living the life of Oliver Twist, needing more gruel. They're bad guys. And if they truly need more care and attention, it's pretty clear they aren't getting it on the streets. Separating them from society seems like a good first step. If you find a program that reduces recidivism, more power to you. But implementing it while they are segregated from their victims. Every North American city has a list of a couple hundred individuals who, if arrested and taken off the streets, would drop the crime levels, all criminal activity, just right? It just would. It'd be temporary because there's always going to be a backfill. Why don't we do that? Well, because the optics of those being arrested would be horrific. It would look really big. You arrested who? For what? Oh my gosh. This isn't Texas. This isn't Oklahoma. We don't do that we don't arrest people here. That's not what we do. That's not kind. That's not inclusive. Instead, you are submitting the general population to an absolute beatdown, and that's what's going on. That's what you got going on. An absolute beatdown. Hey, can you believe that? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Notice who Harold says he is cross-examined. The police, not the criminals, the police. He has a lower opinion of the police, whose job it is to protect the citizens Harold represents, than of the criminals terrorizing those citizens. It's so backwards, isn't it? It's so backwards. Seattle doesn't tend to re-elect its mayors, so it's likely that Harold will be replaced with an even worse candidate. Mayors seem to resign or get kicked out on a regular basis, although perhaps Harold will break the curse. I don't think so. There's no way. Progressive challenger Katie Wilson leads incumbent Bruce Merrill by 9.54%, a 10% lead. There's no way she's giving that up, and received a majority of the primary vote. Seattle mayor has not been reelected since 2005 because everybody comes in based on, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, this is what we're doing. And in reality, they can't really change much, right? I thought Bruce Harrell did a decent job trying to close down. He did what he could on the homeless encampment thing. Seattle's in a better position than Portland by far, way by far. And some of that has to do with what Bruce Harrell has done. But there's a lot of stuff that just kind of got left. Just, hey, do whatever you want. It's Seattle. I'm going to read a little bit from Jason Rantz here. Harrell wasn't caught off guard when he was answering these questions. This wasn't a slip of the tongue. This was his governing philosophy, spoken aloud on a stage where voters were watching. He essentially said, victims don't matter. public safety doesn't matter, and that repeat offenders should be shielded from jail because of their supposed backstory. Does he realize how insane that sounds? He probably does. He probably does. But he doesn't care because the people that he needs to get the vote from aren't just as insane. And they're gonna elect a Democratic Socialist of America. They're gonna elect a straight up commie over a moderate guy. They're just gonna do that. Make it make sense. And it's a pushback on Trump. It's a pushback on all these narratives going on, like ICE is bad. I mean, that whole thing is just absolutely mind-blowing. That, we're just going to protest down at the ICE office. We're just going to protest. Because what are you going to really get from that? Is ICE going to shut down? Has ICE ever shut down? Has any federal law enforcement shut down because a bunch of protesters went out there? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's absurd. It's just absolutely ridiculous. That's the world we live in, a ridiculous world. Does he realize how insane that sounds? He doesn't need to realize how insane it sounds because the people that he wants to get their vote are equally, if not more so insane. I would argue more so insane because they all have enormous Trump derangement syndrome. And they're going to have a big no kings rally here. No kings. I mean, it's mentally challenged. And that is what the city of Seattle is. It is mentally challenged on mass scale. And everybody just pretends that everything's going great. And then you hear what the mayor is saying. Maybe they're hungry. Seattle mayor's public safety comments spark online debate. You think so? You think so? Online debate. Hey, let's debate this. Now, when somebody breaks the law, should we incarcerate them? Nope. Sit them down for a kumbaya moment. Ask them how it made them feel to be arrested. Then we'll just, we'll give them an ankle monitor and say, hey, stay indoors. Don't leave your house. Just absolutely nutty, right? How about this one? FBI statistics. This is the moderator in the debate. FBI statistics have shown that in 2024, Seattle had the fourth highest overall crime rate compared to other large cities. The crime numbers this year overall seem to be on a better path than last year. But Mr. Harrell, it's no secret the repeat offenders are driving much of this crime. Is the city too lax on repeat offenders? Harrell called the question interesting and noted he was not sure exactly how to answer because he did not know how lax was being gauged by the panel. He then said it was important to catch criminals in the act and repeated a call for 1,500 officers, which had been a key messaging point in his campaign for re-election. Hey, I'm all for that too, but the way to get there isn't to say, I want to hear about the criminal's sob story. No. Sometimes there's a little thing. It's a little thing called tough love. And sometimes you need to incarcerate those who are not on the right path, who need some tough love. More importantly, you just need to get them out of the community. You need to get them out of the community because they're causing so much harm. Following statement came shortly afterwards and has become a clip circulated online to wide audiences across the country. And that's where we get into what he just said. Maybe they were abused as a child. Maybe they're hungry. Maybe pigs might fly. Maybe the moon's made of cheese. I don't know. Haven't been there. Looks like it could be. It's kind of yellow. But my remedy is to find their life story to see how we can help. Really? How are you going to do that? Because you don't have a massive diversion program where you're getting them into help and yet keeping them off the streets. You don't have that. We do not have that. So talking about this is literally just kind of cuckoo. It's crazy. First, I have no desire to put them in jail. I mean, that's going to win some bonus points with the far left extremists. It just is. But do regular Democrats believe in this? Maybe they do. Maybe I'm, giving moderates too much credit. That, hey, do you think it's okay? Dudes rape 6, 7 women. to, sit him down and find out what went wrong in his childhood and just let him out to get that eighth victim? Is that okay? I mean, are you okay with that? Folks that I know that don't vote red, I don't think are going to be okay with that. Hey, if that guy has his way with your wife or maybe your 18-year-old daughter, are you okay with that? I mean, you had a tough childhood. Is that okay? Because odds are he's going to do it again. But the mayor is saying, you know what? Maybe he was hungry. Maybe he's out there just doing that to all these women because he's hungry. I mean, the guy's hungry. Give that guy a you know what I mean? You just left with, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What? I put police officers on the stand. Yeah, we heard that. Katie Wilson responds to questions about repeat offenders. Wilson, she is, she's going to be the mayor. Wilson advocated for the city's leadership to do more work with effective diversion programs for repeat offenders. That sounds about right. One of those programs already in use in Seattle is Law Enforcement Effective Diversion, LEAD. Programs like this often connect people with alternative community case management resources instead of immediately going for jail bookings. So what that does is that sends the message to lifelong criminals, come to Seattle. You get popped, you're going to have diversion. Nothing's going to happen to you. They're a bunch of wimps. They will not incarcerate you. Unless you murder somebody, the world's your oyster. Just get out there and, commit those crimes. Because crime does pay in Seattle. Because we're letting it. You're allowing these criminals to have their way with the city. And then we step back and go, what happened? How did we get here? What happened to our once great city? Well, you got nut jobs like this and like this. You got both of these people. Unfortunately, our current mayor, previous budgets in his term, has severely cut funding for the LEAD program. But this is exactly the kind of program we need in order to address the problem of repeat offenders, especially for low-level crime, without just giving people long jail sentences, which, frankly, won't work either. Well, it does. It does from the standpoint you've got repeat offenders off the streets. Now those repeat offenders are no longer committing crimes for however long their incarceration period is. That is what should be happening. And yet, it's not going to. And moving forward, either one of these candidates wins. Seattle. This is what you're paying for. This is what you bought and paid for. Just a bunch of absolute, in my opinion, socialist nonsense. And the whole justice reform. Doesn't have a lot to do with public safety, does it? You're just letting people go. Hey, let's let Jeffrey Dahmer go. He said he was sorry. Son of Sam, let's let him go. I mean, he had a tough childhood, so we'll just let him go, right? I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere. Not everybody can be a mass killer. Not everybody can be a mass murderer. Oh, how do we get here? How do we get here? We know the answer to that, and we are living it. We are literally living it. So we're going to have more podcasts about this. Show. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for being here. Catch up with you on the next one. Bye for now.